and welcome once again to another episode of The Naked Turner. Today I'm going to be working on a piece here that Alan Simpson had sent me quite some time back. Alan, thank you very much for this piece of boxwood. I believe that's what you had said it was. I think this is now maybe almost 2 years ago that Alan sent me this, maybe even a little over 2 years at this point. I can't remember exactly when he sent me this piece of wood, but I decided I would give a go at turning this into a small vase after creating that extremely large vase and having quite a difficult time hollowing that piece of curly tiger maple out using my own boring bar. So on this episode today, I'm going to be trying out the Lyle Jamieson hollowing tool and turning this piece of wood that Alan Simpson sent me all the way from Ireland. Alright, so here's this small chunk of what I believe to be boxwood. Then I'm going to create a little tenon here on this end that I can stick back in my chuck to use to grab onto this piece and start the hollowing process. I don't think you'll be able to see this here, but this is the Lyle Jamieson hollowing system, and I'll get this set up here and we'll start going about using that. Alright, first thing to do is read, understand, and follow all the safety for any shop tool that you're going to be using. And most importantly, you don't want to forget your face shield. So let me grab that. Alright, here's my face shield, getting suited up. And okay, I'm just squaring the end off here. Okay, so now I have this mounted very, very firmly on a shoulder on my scrolling jaw chuck with a dovetail on the tenon. So it's really, really well held. And then I've gone about tightening both sides several times to make sure I'm fully tightened and engaged, and this thing is really on there. Okay, so I'm going to rough this end around, and I'm going to do that utilizing my Henry Taylor roughing gouge, dynamic roughing gouge. There's a couple knots right here, so I'm going to go slowly through this part. Alright, so I'm back here set up and finished sharpening my skew chisel. Okay, so I have the Lyle Jamieson system set up as per his recommendations. Everything's locked off. I've got my the rear gate here, or the rear rest, is locked off at the appropriate height for my specific stand, or my specific throw on my lathe. I've used his guide card to show me right where my the tip is, and I'll show you a little bit about that later. Best thing to do is go on by his site. He's got a tremendous amount of information regarding this hollowing tool. But I just wanted to give you a wide shot. I don't have a lot of room here in my little garage or carriage shack, but I think hopefully you can see that there. There's a little laser light that's pointing down here. I have it set for about right now a 1/4 inch, 3/16 inch wall thickness to start out with, just because I'm kind of getting used to the way this whole system works. So I'm going to go about starting to use this. I'll zoom in a little bit here and get you a better angle on the actual cutting that's going on. What is nice about this system, if you watch his videos, is this rear handle is supported back here by the gate, and I actually am going to move this back a little bit so I have a little more room here. So the nice thing about this system is all of the fatigue that would normally be here on your rear stabilizing arm and not the arm up here that's doing all the artistic work. This rear arm that gets tired sometimes from fairly intense hollowing, now this rear gate and rest does all that work for you, so you can concentrate on the artistic part of it up here on the business end. So let me move this gate back a little bit, shut my lathe down, and move this back a hair, because it will give me a little bit more room there. Alright, so now, hopefully this is a good angle here for you. So as you can see, there's the little laser guide here, which I have set up for this portion of my workpiece just inside of here. So what I've done is align my laser with the tip, and I'm about maybe like about 5/16, quarter of an inch to 5/16 right now. And I'm doing that just because I'm, like I said, I'm getting used to this system. But let me show you how it works. So now just 2 fingers here, and I'm easily cutting. And coming back up. Alright, and you can see it cuts really easily. I'm basically just using 2 fingers, and then back on the back I'm just, not even that far back actually, let me see if I can show you here. I'm kind of just controlling right in here right now because this is a fairly small hollow piece. If it were larger, I might be back here on the back doing a little more control. But because it's so small, I'm able to just kind of 2 fingers, a little bit, 2 fingers here, and it works beautifully. So now what I'm going to do, I'm going to change camera angle a little because the tripod is in my way. Alright, hopefully that's a little better camera angle for you there. Now what I'm going to see, I am going to readjust ever so slightly. And Lyle has a special tool rest that has a nut on it, so you can micro adjust a little easier, but so far it's working out just fine. Tip. Got a nut driver for that. And come in a little straighter here. Alright. Now we're going to give that a try. This is just to remove the very middle. Hopefully this is a little bit better view. Alright, so what I'm doing here is I had come down this way and made a cut, and that left a little bit of a burr on this way edge, so now I just came in this way and cleaned that little bit of a burr up. Now what I'm going to do is blend this edge in. Bringing up my speed here. Alright, so here's the shape. I just refined this a tiny bit I wanted kind of a little different look there with this little point and then a little bit of a cove and then a real sharp hard edge up here on the top. I just thought it looked nice, and then eventually I'll do something down here, but now let's go about hollowing out the inside. And turning on the lathe. There we go. Now I can get these in. Alright, some more hollowing here. Just changed my laser setting and weaving into the hole. And I'm watching the laser on this outside edge facing me.
I'm doing some refining cuts, trying to smooth out the inside edge to make a nice smooth transition on the interior walls of this small vase hollow form vessel.
Okay, we're back up. I lost battery there. Anyway, what I was saying is I have my laser set here for the appropriate distance, and I'm just barely able to tuck myself up inside of this. We come down just the slightest little bit. Okay, starting up and getting my nose in, getting the swivel adapter in. Now just feathering out everything.
I'm watching the laser guide here to show me exactly where I want to go to, and it is very handy to have that little laser pointing right to the outside edge of my vessel, showing me the wall thickness.
Alright, so I think I just feathered in. Yeah, that feels really, really nice. Everything's, I'm down to about an 1/8 inch, maybe 3/16 wall thickness. Nice and consistently. Got a good shape. And now all I have to do is refine the bottom shape. So I'll do a little bit of sanding, and this is so smooth already. I'm going to start out here with maybe some 400 grit sandpaper. And I'll check back in with you when I'm done. Let me zoom out a little. Alright, so far what I can tell you about this hollowing system is it takes a lot of the guesswork out. There's a little bit of a learning curve for me, but I think I'll get it really fast. This was my first time using it, and I got a really nice wall thickness, good shape. I'm going to do some sanding, and I'll show you a picture of the finished product. But so far I really like this Lyle Jamieson hollowing system, and I got the regular. There is a deluxe or something like that, and then there's also a jumbo bar that goes along with this, and you can also get the Hunter carbide cutter tips for it, which they look like they're really nice as well, because they're kind of turned at about a 45 or so, maybe a little less than that degree angle, and they're able to do some nice scrape shear cutting, peeling cuts rather than a scraper cut. So those are probably really nice as well. Check out his system, see what you think. So far I'm really impressed. There are a few little things that are sort of limitations, but you can kind of work around them, and he explains a lot of that in his very detailed videos on how to use his hollowing system. So check out his website, Lyle Jamieson, on YouTube. I think you'll really enjoy what you see if you haven't seen it already. Thanks for watching, and I'll post a couple still images of this when I'm finished with it. Okay, so here's what the shape looks like now from the side. I've got my part line here, the little foot on it, and I've got it sanded to 400. I'm going to put some sanding sealer on it now, and I'm just vacuuming out the inside and getting rid of it. Alright, so here's the piece, finished. A couple coats of sanding sealer, sanded up to 800 grit, sanded up to 800 grit, and it is just absolutely beautiful. It's polished and like butter. So now what I'm going to do is come in here and part this piece off using my narrow parting tool. At least I think. Actually, you know what? I'm going to switch out to my diamond parting tool. So I'm going to come down a little more. And coming in right here. Now I'll just do a little sanding on that little nub, which there's very little left of that nub there. A little bit of sanding on that, and this piece is finished. Let me zoom out a little bit. Oops. And there you have it. This piece is finished. Thanks again for watching, and like I said, please give me a thumbs up if you enjoyed this video. Share it with friends and become a subscriber. Take care. Safe turning. Hello, and welcome once again to another episode of The Naked Turner. I've been working on cutting some segments for the last few days, and I did that using the wedgie sled. If you're not familiar with the wedgie sled, you should go on YouTube and type in a search for wedgie sled and look up Jerry Bennett. Jerry Bennett wedgie sled. He has made a series of videos called Segmentology, the Basics, and Beyond Segmentology, the Basics. His videos are extremely enlightening, and he takes the fact that nothing is perfect and turns it into an imperfect perfection. I really, really enjoy his wedgie sled. Very easy to use. Everybody who is interested in doing any kind of segmented turning or making frames of any kind that are round frames, go look up the wedgie sled, check it out, see if you like it. I think if you are like me, you're going to really love it. I had an Incra jig, which was an HD 180, or a 180 HD miter saw guide for my protractor miter saw guide for my table saw. And I'd been using that, and that's why I hadn't made a wedgie sled. Well, let me just say this, after making my wedgie sled, I wish I had made one a long time ago. It works so much better than my Incra jig that I have a feeling I'm going to be probably selling that off. Anyway, check his site out. Jerry Bennett, Segmentology, Wedgie Sled. You can also go to Segeasy, SEG-easy.com, and that will give you plans for free on how to make the sled, as well as the stop for measuring each one of your incremental segments. I hope you enjoy his site. I know I did. So without further ado, let me get you over here to my lathe where I've been putting this piece together. Alright, so before we go into the lathe, I just wanted to show you real quick this wedgie sled. So this is the wedgie sled. I have mine set up for 12 segments, which is a 30-degree angle between these two pieces. So the way it works is you make a cut like this using this primary fence, and you move your piece forward and make your next cut. You don't flip your board unless you want to create only primary segments where you are taking this and flipping back and forth. So this wedgie sled works like that. Then once you've cut your first angle, you use this stop, which is adjustable, to measure off your pieces and cut them. So that's the way the wedgie sled works. It is extremely easy to build. You don't even have to make it adjustable. If you just want to do 12-sided segments or 12-sided rings, you can screw these boards right down in this position. I made the one that's adjustable so that I could make different size or different numbers of segments per ring. Anyway, that's a look at that. Now let me show you something that I created using this sled. Alright, so here's a segmented bowl that I've been working on using the wedgie sled. It goes really fast. I cut all the parts for this in one day and glued up a couple of the rings, and then over the next couple days after work I've been gluing additional rings on and turning them down. I just have sanding sealer on this right now, and then I will do some wet sanding with walnut oil and sand this down a bit. I've kind of done a pattern that's not a pattern in this, so that it's very random looking, but there is a pattern within this random looking assortment of blocks of wood. So what I've used here is some sapele, some walnut, maple and sapele ring, another ring of just walnut, and then back to a combo ring, and then a sapele ring, then a combo ring, then a combo ring, and then this sort of combo ring with parallel pieces of maple in there to kind of give it an interesting look and break things up a little bit. Let me turn this on here and see if we get any cool stroboscopic patterning as I run it through a couple different hey, how you doing? As I run it through a couple different speeds. So let's turn it slow here at first. Alright, 150. $300, 470, 540, running extremely true. I was running it up at 2500 RPM right there, no wobble, no jiggle, no run out. Alright, here we go. As it slows down, we should get some interesting patterning. Okay, so let me show you the side of this piece. Okay, so here's the side. And I'm just about to part it off right here. So what I'm going to do is part this off. Well, first I'm going to wet sand it, put some finish on, then I'll part it off, and I'll share some of the still images of this finished piece with you when I'm all done. Thank you so much for watching another episode of The Naked Turner. I hope you enjoyed, and if you did, please give me a thumbs up. I am going to be doing some segmented videos coming up here in the future. I just wanted to do some R&D using the Seg Easy wedgie sled before I committed to doing a video about it. I wanted to see how well it worked. So I did some R&D with it, and it turns out incredibly nice. I did do 2 other bowls using it, and I will show you those at some other point, but just wanted to share this with you. It's really, really pretty, and it's got some great grain, beautiful patterning. Anyway, there you have it. Once again, like I said, if you enjoyed this video, please give me a thumbs up, share it, and if you're not a subscriber, please click subscribe and become a subscriber. Thanks again. Take care and safe turning.